Regional semifinal session number 1 in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Historic Gill Coliseum, the site for 4 programs with long histories of being on this stage. Incredibly talented gymnasts, potentially on 10 watch today for what should be a very, very fun couple of regional semifinal sessions here in Corvallis, Oregon. You take a look at the bracket. 2 spots available out of this first regional semifinal session between Alabama, Utah, Denver, and Oregon State. UCLA, Minnesota, Iowa, Washington vying for that later tonight. Stay up all the way with us. Get the coffee ready for this Pacific Northwest region and our regional semifinal session day. Getting you geared up for it. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Kennedy Baker. Pumped up for this, Kennedy, because we have so much depth, potentially on 10 watch. This is a really, really tough region.
Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday, but we have the hardest regional across the NCAA. These teams could all go to the national championship. We don't walk out of this region without an upset, whether it's this session, the following session. We've got big gymnastics coming.
Speaking of big gymnastics, let's start with one of those individuals we talked about, Avery Neff. She had the first 10 of the season. What do you expect from her today?
Avery Neff, I expect her to do what she's done all season and hit these routines. Also put up a 10 on bars earlier in the regular season. She is undeniable this year in gymnastics. Her strongest season yet in the sophomore year. Cannot wait to see her gymnastics later today. And of course, Azariah Akbar, 10 on beam this season. SEC co-freshman of the year. The first 10 from the Alabama program on beam for a freshman since the late 90s. And you got to look at Avery Neff, Big 12 Gymnast of the Year.
She has been fantastic. Both of those 2 gymnasts should be very fun to watch today. Let's take a look at our format. So, as per usual, 6 gymnasts per team competing on each event. Remember, those top 2 are going to advance to the regional final. Top 5 scores count towards that team total. Will drop the lowest. And definitely keep an eye with you throughout the course of the afternoon on which top 2 teams advance to the regional final. So, Kennedy, break down for me why teams choose to start on which event that they do. It's very strategical, particularly with our teams and our conversations with the coaches throughout the week.
Yeah, they're strategizing on what is going to serve them the best and get them to Sunday's competition. Actually, I'm impressed. Denver, Melissa Reinhardt practiced that lineup at Big 12 Championships, practice starting on beam. They get to choose based off of their NQS standings. Bama got the first choice, Utah got the second, Denver third, and Oregon State fourth.
Chloe LaCourcier leading off on the vault for Alabama.
Beautiful start on her Yurchenko 1.5. Alabama Gymnastics has all 10.0 start value vaults on this apparatus. They all start from a 10. Really strong event for them.
It's been so fun to watch Chloe grow over the last couple of years. McKenna Smith, they call it McKenna Magic, kicking things off on bars for Utah.
McKenna was so consistent and put on such a show at the Big 12 Championships. And again today, drills that front pike half like it's not that hard, but trust me, that is a difficult dismount.
Megan Amold on the beam for Denver. They'll start on beam. She took over that leadoff role on March 6th and held it now for 3 consecutive meets. Just a freshman leading off in a big spot there for them.
They've often had freshmen in their starting positions on beam. Megan did a great job at the conference championships, leading off the team, getting the momentum and ball rolling.
Taylor DeVries on that right side of your screen for Oregon State, the host school. Get to put on a show on the floor in front of the home fans to kick things off.
And Oregon hasn't been in competition since the regular season. They don't get the conference championship. They're in the Pac-12 alone in gymnastics. So they've just waited and rested leading up to the regional semifinals today.
Amold wraps up that first beam routine for Denver.
Head coach Tanya Chaplin said that Taylor has just been at her strongest point of her career this season. Sometimes she has to slow her down because she just has so much adrenaline, ready to go and serve the Beavers in her gymnastics. Last pass closes with this 1.5 front layout.
On the vault, Chloe LaCourcier was given a 9.85. Now Kylie Kwame coming up in that second spot as DeVries wraps up the floor routine. As you hear this crowd really come alive for the first time with all the Beaver fans.
larger step out of that 1.5, had nice amplitude off of the table, had a larger step. Judges can take up to a 10.5 depending on what they determine the step size was. It's going to be a bigger deduction there.
That was a new season high, by the way, for Chloe LaCourciere on the vault. So a great start for Alabama there. Ashley Glynn coming up after the 9.85 from McKenna Smith to lead things off on bars for Utah.
Ashley is a stunning bar swinger. Had a mistake on her dismount at conference championships, really uncharacteristic. You're going to see her do the stalder into the double tuck, hard circling release, only using your ab strength to get around the bar. Nails the dismount today. That is the Utah stick we're used to seeing from Ashley Glynn.
Kennedy, we talked about where these teams choose to start. Also important they choose to end. Utah's extremely strong on vault. They've chosen to end on the vault, and Ashley's a key part of that vault lineup as well. So keep an eye on her name throughout the course of today. Shayla Bhatia, the star freshman who you talked about earlier today on the Denver side of things, following up a 9.775 from Megan Amol to lead things off there on the beat.
And this is her first performance in the postseason on beam. She missed Big 12. She was resting an ankle foot injury, but she's back in these lineups, and she's been a superstar for the Pioneers this season.
Floor on the right side of your screen there. They gave DeVries a 9.8 to lead things off for Oregon State. Olivia Buckner following her.
Beautifully done on her switch half, and Olivia Buckner for Oregon State with a beautiful layout step out of the front 1.5. Small step forward for Shyla, but what a great routine in her first regional competition. Only a freshman. They said a lot of potential coming for years in advance with the Denver program.
Gave Ashley Glynn a 9.9, by the way, over on the bars for Utah. Strong start for them there. Kwame given a 9.775 for vault. Jamison Sears set to follow.
Nice close on that front full for Olivia Buckner with Oregon State. Oregon State getting the ball rolling, feeling the home crowd and energy, using it to their advantage. And Jamison with a 1.5. Nice control out of that. Hop to the side. You see those lines. It's a good indication to the judges where they're at behind the table. Not a deduction, but they want them right behind the table. Shows that they got enough block and distance.
We got to chat with Jamison yesterday. You can see the energy beaming through your screen right there and still beaming on the screen. It was fun hearing her at practice yesterday. She's also kind of a part of like the stick police. We'll show you that later on. Helping monitor her teammates. Great leader for the group. As now Abby Rissman going to come up here on the bars for Utah following Glynn's season high of a 9.9 on the bars there for Utah.
Abby having to work a little bit in this bar routine. Has pretty extension, but pulls that Jaeger in too close. Arms caught bent. Judges want to see the elbows all the way extended when they come into contact with the bar again.
All Big 12 on bars.
Nice stick on the double layout, though. She crushed that at Big 12s as well.
Now back to the beam. Ashley Gallen up here for Denver.
Nice work on her back handspring layout, step out. Acro series was good. Does a difficult combination, switch leap, switch half. Right into the beat jump. Well done. Smooth connection.
Gallen's going to lead them off on the floor in rotation, too. Denver has a really strong beat floor lineup.
Denver was incredibly strategic in their choice. I got to talk to Melissa about that choice on Big at Big 12 of starting on beam. She knew it would aid them at the back half of the postseason, and it's serving them so well.
Back over to the floor. Ellie Weaver following the 9.85 from Olivia Buckner for Oregon State.
And this has to feel like such a moment for Ellie in this routine. Actually came back for the first time on senior day. She hadn't been in the lineup for 26 months. Fourth routine on floor in her career in college. And it was such a beautiful routine.
On the vault, Jordan Paradise gearing up following the 9.875 from Sears.
A little hop to the side, but nice control on that hop. Judges can take up to 2/10 on those hops as well. Had her actually in the beginning of the lineup when she started her career, but they pushed her back to increase her scoring potential.
Important for Jordan Paradise. Ashley Johnston's daughter Josie is here, the good luck charm for Jordan. Weaver wraps up that floor routine 9.85 after Buckner was given the 9.85, so let's see what they give Weaver. Remember, you were scratching out the lowest score out of the 6 total, so you'll see that highlighted in gray, the score that you would theoretically want to drop at this point. Go back over to the bars. Strong start for Utah. It was a 9-9 season high for Glenn. Now Ella Zerbis coming up here.
Similar to Abby, Ella's form is tremendous. Opens with this Jaeger release, moves so much height and distance directly into her shoot over combination. Judges don't need to see it go all the way to handstand if they connect it directly from their first release. So far, so good. Just the dismount, full twisting double tuck. Step forward. Judges want to see on those double tucks and full twisting double tucks a step backwards rather than forwards.
Madison Reidenbach up here now on the beam for Denver. Right now they'd be dropping the Batia score of 9.725.
We've mentioned how this is a young team with Denver. They've just got a lot of inexperience in their lineups this year. Even some of the upperclassmen are making their way into the lineups for the first time. Maddie is one of those people. And man, just a little off on the back handspring. Couldn't adjust in the layout, step out.
They started on beam at Big 12s, right?
And they had a mistake at Big 12s, but they bounced back. It's about how the last half responds. So big job for Amanda and CC next.
Raina Marshall on the floor here. Right side of your screen for Oregon State.
A lot of height on her double tuck. Had to work to control it. Good job staying in bounds. Maddie closes her routine. Disappointed in that performance. You can see it on her face. And the rest of the lineup has some pressure.
Gabby Gladio getting set to come up on vault for Alabama. She's been so key for the Tide all season long. Greensboro, North Carolina native, a senior. Really strong across 4 events. Rises to the challenge, in the words of her head coach, Ashley Johnston.
Really well done on that Yurchenko 1.5. Small hop forward, but Gabby is such a gamer. She is ready to go at all moments for their Bama program.
2023 SEC vault champ. And meanwhile, Marshall wraps up her floor routine. All of these schools, so much history of being in the postseason. Going over to Utah and back to the bars. And a Parararu.
Was a Canadian national team member. She's been really consistent in the bar lineup and beam lineup for Utah. Had a mistake at Big 12, though, on this opening release, the Maloney, and had to scratch the rest of the routine, looking for the response today. And it's good. Nice, easy backswing, straight to the shootover. Handstand, held it for a second. Good job from Anna, bouncing back today. Fought to hold that handstand as well. A lot of pike on that front pike half. Legs were a little too straight coming into the mat, but that is her first routine since the mistake at Big 12. Good bounce back for her.
Amanda Hargraves now over on the beam for Denver. She set career highs on beam last month and on the floor.
And this is an important moment for Denver. She can handle the pressure. Head coach Melissa Kushner-Reinhardt said that she likes to take risks. You're going to see one of the hardest sweeps in NCAA and in this competition in her routine coming up. It's called a torsion quarter. She has to focus on staying tight in her back and abs when she lands if she wants to be successful in it. Well done.
Savannah Miller, right side of your screen for Oregon State. Their head coach, Tanya Chaplin, in her 29th season with the Beavers. Had a lot of great words to say about Savannah in our conversation earlier this week.
Yeah, actually had to push her back in the floor lineup because of her scoring potential. She wanted to raise it because she's just been so on this year. And Amanda gets the team back on track. Closes so well on her gainer full. That she's in this later half of the lineup because she's special. And we see that specialness in her gymnastics, like that perfect stick.
Left side of your screen, Azarea Akbar, SEC co-freshman of the year, coming up on the vault.
Tried to control the landing. She just has so much power. That's what they work on the most with her. They're going to take a small deduction for the hop and the tiny step, but head coach Ashley Priest said that she is a breath of fresh eagerness, and I loved hearing that about Azarea. She just brings such a light to college gymnastics.
Caps that lineup on vault in a big spot, and rightfully so as a freshman. Now here comes Avery Knapp, had the first 10 of the season. Earlier this year, she's got 2 on the season total, so we're always on watch when she goes up for her routine.
This Ginger to shoot over combination is phenomenal. She's ranked 12th on bars. Ends with this full twisting double layout, one of the hardest dismounts in college gymnastics. Small shuffle back, that's the biggest deduction in that routine, though. Her ability to dial in when the moment calls is unparalleled.
Amazing dismount. Now we'll go as Utah wraps up their first rotation. We'll await that score. Cecilia Cooley coming up on the beam for Denver, New York City native.
This is one of Cece's best defense. She's ranked 23rd on beam. She's actually hit her groove later in her career as a senior, exactly what you want in your gymnast. Opens with this hard triple series. Keeps it on the beam. That is the job that she needed to do. She stepped backwards, but it was important that she didn't fall and lose those 5/10.
Sophia Esposito on the floor for Oregon State. Cecilia on the left side of your screen, the Big 12 beam co-runner-up.
Beautifully done from Sophia Esposito for Oregon State on her double pike out of the front through. She's had so much growth overall in her college career, Tanya Chaplin said, and she just lifts the people around her. She's now embraced this role this season. And Cece Cooley doing her job, sticking her dismount. They have 5 counting scores now on top of the beam. Exactly what you want, and they're bringing it today.
They gave Neff a 9-9, by the way, on the bars lineup for Utah. So second 9-9 of that bars lineup for Utah, and a strong start for them. trying to stay in that top 2. The goal is to be in the top 2 to advance to Sunday's regional final.
Sophia with one of the best routines of her career. Went 9.95 on senior day. I imagine that's going to be another big number close to that today. Hyping up the crowd. It is getting lit here in Gill Coliseum. They have one of the best fan bases in the country.
So now our individual competitors coming up for the first time. Christina Shinikova, you know the family well, Kennedy, the Shinikova family.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a third generation Shinikova I'm seeing. I competed with her sister, Paulina Shinikova, on the national team. Then I saw her sister, Alona, come in and compete for LSU. And now we've got Christina with Boise State. Phenomenal bar workers from all 3 sisters. Christina, just like her sisters prior in college, opens with this Jaeger release move. So much height. She excels at her form. You see the leg extension all the way through to the toe point. Has a difficult dismount. We've seen that a lot from Utah as well. She ends with this toe on pike off. We just saw Anna Potterariu do it. Christina with a shuffle back. It's difficult for these individuals, though, to compete. They're competing in a 7th spot, so they've got to wait. And if they're only doing one event, they've got to wait for that event specifically. Tough challenge.
This is Caitlin Dreisen on the beam from Sacramento State.
Luckily, Caitlin's used to this pressure. You know, she's usually in 3rd or 4th in her lineup with Sac State, so she's used to going in the back half. Aids her for this individual aspect of the competition. Slight fumble out of her front toss. Just a deduction, though, not her acro series. Closes with the gainer full. Well done.
Amelia Moneymaker on the floor from UC Davis, their school record holder in the all-arounds.
I love the way that Amelia performs this routine. She just eats up every moment of the choreo, backs it up with high gymnastics like that layout step out right there. For the individuals, it's determined whether they make it to the NCAA championships based off of today's performance. Although you have to wait until after Sunday's performance, see which teams qualify to find out if you qualify to the national championships. I love how you can see the Oregon State Beavers in the back slapping her along. Kind of fun as an individual. You're adopted into the team that you are rotating with. They give you a lot of good energy usually. And perfect stick on that double tuck from Amelia. Last name's Moneymaker for a reason.
Best name in the field. Made her money on that floor routine.
Period.
So, going to update you on our scores for the meets. In total, again, top 2 teams will advance to the regional finals. So through one rotation to this point, Utah and Alabama. We'll see where they stand after these scores come in. So Utah with the highest total after that first rotation. And Oregon State in the second spot, 49.2. Alabama in the third spot, and Denver in the fourth spot.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
We talked about you strategizing at Big 12s on beam, and it worked in your favor again today. What impressed you about that response today and the strategy going into Big 12?
Really just happy with what they did. Really pleased with the persistence, the perseverance, the fight. We got that out of the way. Beam is a difference maker. Now we can go all out for the next 3 events.
What do you want to see from your floor team next?
Just want to stay in the moment, do one thing at a time.
And how impressive was Amanda's bounce back after the mistake in the lineup earlier?
Yeah, I'm so proud. She showed what she does in training all the time. That's where I thought that mental toughness kicked in.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Good luck.
Thank you.
So after the first rotation, Utah and Oregon State, the top 2, Alabama 3, Denver 4, will gear up for the second rotation when we come back. Welcome back to this Corvallis Regional semifinal day, and you see after the first rotation, Utah and Oregon State above that gray cutoff line, which is so important because the top 2 are going to advance to the regional final on Sunday, and you see it is very close with Alabama right behind there. Beat summary so far to this point: Utah, strong start in the bars. Glenn goes 9-9, and Avery Neff caps it off with a 9-9 as well. So that was a part of the key start for Utah there. Second rotation, Utah's going to go over to the beam, and then Denver, one of their strengths being the floor, they're going to go to the floor. Alabama to the bars, and Oregon State to the vault. If you're an Oregon State fan here in Corvallis, got to love the start for the Beavers after not competing for a couple of weeks. See the Oregon State fans decked out in the orange and black, packing the historic Gill Coliseum. And we mentioned for Utah, their strong start. Ashley Glenn, a key part of that with the 9-9. Here's a little feature with more on Ashley.
Ashley's routine was so impressive on bars to me. Not only from the recovery at Big 12, but also broke the 9-9 still in session 1 in scores. Just a phenomenal bar swinger. Her attention to detail in her form is why she's so good at bars. Loaded this dismount down so easily.
Her head coach, Carly Dockendorf, third season as head coach. In 2024, became the first head coach in NCAA history to lead a team to the last 4 standing in her very first year. They finished third that season. You see the national championship appearance in each of the first 2 seasons there. And a strong start for them, as we noted, over on the bars. Again, in rotation 2, they will go to the beam. Elizabeth Gantner will lead off. That's one of her specialties. Interested to see what Oregon State can continue to do here as well, Kennedy, after a strong start in front of the home crowd. Momentum as, I guess on paper, one of the underdogs here, even though you're at home, but defy that and just ride the energy of your home crowd.
Oregon State and Denver are my dark horses because their scoring potential is high. They haven't necessarily put together something that we would see on all 4 events score-wise, but we know that they can do it. They've got 3 10.0 start value vaults in their lineup for Oregon State. And Denver, like you said, they have a really strong floor team. So if they can put up big numbers, they're just as in it as everybody else.
Mentioned Oregon State, coached by Tanya Chaplin in her 29th season. This region has such a small world. Later today, we're going to see Iowa. Their head coach, Jen Llewellyn. She was a gymnast here at Oregon State during her tenure as a student athlete. And there's her head coach, Tanya Chaplin. So a lot of reuniting in small world of gymnastics here in Corvallis this weekend. This is going to be a fantastic day of gymnastics. 6-time conference coach of the year in the Pac-12. They're going to begin here on vaults in the second rotation. Anna Crabb.
2 meets in a row. She has gotten that stick on the Yurchenko full. She stuck it so well last time out on Steam. senior day and again today. The momentum you want from your starter on vault, especially when they start at that 995 start value.
So Oregon State continues their momentum here at home. Go over to the bars. Peyton Walker, California native, back out west. She scored a 9.875 on bars at the SEC Championships. Leadoff spot for the majority of the season for them here.
She's one of the best starters in the country on bars, has some high-flying skills throughout this routine. She battled back from finding out she had rheumatoid arthritis in the fall. Has to work with pain management on the daily with her gymnastics.
Over on beam, Elizabeth Gentner for Utah. Again, leads off on the beam. This is her specialty. She went to the coaches before the season, asked them what she needs to do to compete in that beam lineup consistently, and they told her they needed more consistency out of her. And she cleaned some things up and got more consistent, earned that spot. Over on the bars, on the right side of your screen there again, Peyton Walker for Alabama.
Nice Van Leeuwen from Peyton. This dismount is really high. Beautifully stuck. Similar to her SEC and in general the performances she does on that dismount. So consistent. Elizabeth with an almost stuck 1.5. She tried to get the landing and hold on to it, but like you said, she's worked on that consistency. That's why we're seeing her in the beam lineup every week. And last year, she was in a little bit and went in critical moments. So she knows how to handle pressure on beam as well as being consistent.
Ashley Gallen leading off on the floor for Denver. Competed on beam and floor in every event this year, every meet this year.
Opens with this double salto, double tuck pass. Nice effort trying to hold on to the lunge. The athletes are allowed to step back to the lunge without a deduction, but the foot can't slide on the front or back. Good control from Reina. Got more distance away from the table on that Yurchenko pull. Just pipe down the ending a little bit. Denver's resilience is why they finished second at Big 12. Their ability to bounce back from mistakes. They've worked on it all season long. Had super specific training last week. When I talked to head coach, they had some days that they did more numbers, but some days that they just rested the athletes. So they were really intentional coming into the semifinal today.
The beam, left side of your screen now, fully on your screen. Zerbis, who had a 9.825 in the opening rotation on bars, stepping up on the beam for Utah, following a 9.825 from Gentner.
Good finesse out of that acro series. Actually had a mistake at the first meet on that. She's done well dialing in the postseason, getting the consistency back in her beam routine.
That's a big score, by the way, on the bars for Alabama, with Peyton Walker leading off 9.925. It's a season and career high for her. Now Gladio trying to follow that up. Key for Alabama after they were third entering this rotation behind Oregon State and Utah. Now Gladio again up on the bars here for Alabama.
Both Ella and Gabby closing their routines. Gabby sticking like she always does. An undeniable stuck landing. Ella with a response of her own, and her gainer tucks full off the end of the beam. I feel like we're in the postseason now. The sticks are happening. The pressure's on.
Are we in for a stick off here?
I think so. And we know Jamison's the stick police, so we got to check in with her too.
When you have a captain like Gabby get a stick like that, though, how much energy does it then lead into the team that's infectious? As we're going to have another vault here coming up for Oregon State and Savannah Miller.
Gabby hypes that team up so much. You know, her and Jamison are a dynamic duo in hype women for the Alabama program. Savannah with Oregon State's first 10.0 start value vault. She does a Yurchenko full on, so you're going to see her twist before she comes into contact with the table. I'm impressed that she got the stick out of that. She actually missed the block a little bit. They might take a slight deduction in amplitude. They need to see it rise off the table, but what a finesse in that landing.
Amanda Hargraves of Denver on the floor here. And she's been really good on the floor so far this season, consistent. She's won shares of floor titles this year. Woodinville, Washington native in the Pacific Northwest.
Had a huge 9-9 at conference championships. Amanda just has an authority about her gymnastics. She's chill in her composure, but then aggressive in the skills and the finishes. Closes out strong in the last pass. They've got to start building scores. You want to put up some 9-9s if you want to be in competition with Utah and Bama right now, and Oregon State.
Now, Abby Rissman stepping up here on the beam for Utah. Big 12 all freshman team selection, and all Big 12 on the beam as a freshman.
I mentioned her form on bars. You see it here too in her beam work. Just exquisite. Shows off that landing. Takes her time in her rhythm. That's actually a deduction in these beam routines. If judges don't see a solid rhythm in the skills and in the dance, they can take a deduction there. Abby never gets that deduction though in dance rhythm. Just a smooth worker in her choreography.
Natalia Pavlak, right side of your screen on the bars for Alabama following this excellent start set by her teammates. And Peyton Walker and Gabby Gladio. Pavlak began the season in the 4 spot, then moved to the 3 spot in this lineup for Alabama.
Slight step back for Natalia, but drill from Abby Rissman for Utah. Utah's been working on their consistency this season. One of the only teams in this competition that's put up a 198.
Kennedy, get ready. This is one of our Hamilton routines we're going to see on the floor today. There's a few of them. It's really catching on in gymnastics, the Hamilton music.
Hamilton is so in right now, Jason. She has such engaging dance.
Olivia Buckner, left side of your screen on the vault for Oregon State.
Slight shuffle backwards, but I was impressed with her ability to keep it on her feet. Could have made it a bigger problem than it was. Her patience and timing out of it aided her in that small shuffle. On her lead. Judges need to see those legs at 180 degrees on the splitting element. Last pass for Kylie, closes with a double pike. If she can get this landing, it could be a big score, maybe their first 9-9 today. Well done. Nice control into the lunge. And in the room where it happened.
So we'll keep an eye on that score. Anna Padereriu currently on the left side of your screen on the beam for Utah. Padereriu, her former team, UCLA, also in this regional, competing later today.
Nice contact continuity on her beginning acro series. She was slated to go in at Big 12, had that bars mishap. So this is the first performance we're seeing on beam from Anna in the postseason. Does this beautiful sheep jump right here, has to lose eyesight with the beam. Well done. I like how far back she puts her head. Judges can see those eyeballs looking at the ceiling on sheep and ring positions.
Ryan Fuller up on the bars for Alabama.
2 dismounts right now. 2 sticks.
Gotta love a simultaneous stick. That's the coolest part of a 2-box. When you get a simultaneous stick. Absolutely love to see that.
And man, I'm excited for Alabama bars. Their back half, after Chloe LaCourcier and Azarea Akbar are number 1 and number 2 in the NCAA on bars. This big 1-2 punch for them at the end of the lineup.
You mentioned to me yesterday how excited you are for Alabama. This time of the year in particular is when they really seem to rise to the occasion, as Cameron Richardson's going to come up here on the vault for Oregon State. Beavers have risen to the occasion so far to this point on the home stage, the host school here in Corvallis. They were in second after the first rotation. You're going to be in the top 2 to advance to Sunday's regional final.
This is their last 10.0 start value vault. Yurchenko 1.5. Controlled step forwards, a little delayed in timing with those arms.
Shyla Bhatia on the floor following a 9-9 that they gave Kylie Roaring for Denver in their Hamilton beam routines. Now can Bhatia follow that up here? One of the most impressive freshmen in the country.
She's so exciting to watch. Really mesmerizing gymnastics. Last pass for Shyla. Ends with this front Rudy layout combination.
Avery Neff, speaking of some of the most talented gymnasts in the country, up on the left side of your screen there on the beam. Following back-to-back 9-9s in this amazing start for Utah.
I love Shyla Bhatia's performance and the way she does that straddle jump at the end of her last pass. Legs are so high in the air and well above the 180-degree split.
Avery Neff, the 2026 Big 12 Gymnast of the Year. Her sophomore season has been stunning.
Yeah, she's peaked this season. She was so good last season, but we forget she wasn't in the beginning of the season, had an ankle injury in the regular season, really only saw her in post, so we're seeing the full version of Avery Neff, and she's dangerous.
Right side of your screen on bars, Chloe LaCourcier following the 9-9 for Ryan Fuller. Second score 9-9 or better. Alabama currently in second by just .025. They've slid into that number 2 spot. Can they hang on here at the tail end of this rotation?
Chloe's gotten several 9.975s on bars. That could be another one. There's a reason she's the #1 bar worker in the country. It's a rinse and repeat performance, but it's exquisite in the way that she goes for the gymnastics with the form to back it up.
They're going to have Akbar close out that bars lineup, as they like to have in the anchor spot. Sophia Esposito. Speaking of gymnasts you want to have in your anchor spot, she's going to wrap the vault lineup for Oregon State.
She anchors this lineup with a Yurchenko full, but she's in the anchor spot because of the consistency in the landing. Maddie right and back opens with this whip half. Front Rudy. Such an intricate combination passes. We're seeing more whip halves in college. I love a whip in gymnastics. It's about handspring without hands. More difficult to do when you twist in the middle of it. Nice finish finishes out of her lead combination. Judges want to see those feet completed all the way around.
Denver with these back-to-back 9-9s have slid into that 3 spot. But it can flip on a dime.
The lucky thing about Denver, they've already done beam. And Sophia tried to find it. Just a step forward. You could tell she was going for the stick, but sometimes those sticks are what we call ankle stinkers in gymnastics, hard on the backside of your leg to dial it in at the end.
You mentioned Denver already getting beam out of the way. I know you said, as a gymnast yourself in Florida, you like to start on beam. You went first, get it out of the way nice and early.
Yeah, I loved when we started on beam. It was such a relief getting it out of the way, getting the ball rolling, and finishing on bars. To me, felt better than finishing on beam. Tammy Weir in the anchor spot for Utah. She has been here often this season. Holds on to the triple series landing. She's been working on her confidence in this beam routine. She's ranked 20th right now. Put up a career high 9.975 at Big 12.
See Azariah Rockbar and how successful she's been on the bars in just year 1 in Tuscaloosa. Second in the NCAA there, that average NQS.
Holds on to the double tuck, fights with her toes to keep it without a step.
That's why they wanted her at the end of the lineup. Following 2 9-9s from LaCourcier and Fuller for Alabama to bounce back in this rotation too. Very strong.
Shuffle back on that gainer pool. Utah did a good job, though. You see a lot of 9-9s and 9.925s. That's what you want in your beam lineup.
Tammy Winger, the 2026 Big 12 beam champ. That's why they have her at the anchor spot of that lineup for them. And now Cecilia Cooley on the floor for Denver here.
She's had nice consistency here this season. Ranked 18th. Opens with this combination pass, front layout, front Rudy, right into a split jump. Amelia Moneymaker on the right side. Small shuffle forwards. Remember, she's competing as an individual. She has an extra weight than most athletes in this competition. Last pass for Cece. If she can get this 1.5 front layout landing, it's going to be another big score for Denver. Nice control into the choreography. Coaches often do that to minimize deductions out of passes. And Denver is using the momentum to stay in this.
Mentioned how strong Denver's floor lineup is, and it's moved them into 3rd after being 4th following the first rotation. One of our individual competitors, Sydney Coe from Boise State. All Mountain West second team on the beam.
Yeah, she had a nice routine at Mountain West Conference Championship. There's a difficult acro series right here. Back handspring, back pike. I literally wrote whoa in my notes because it's hard on the feet coming out. Tough landing to take, and she takes it well. Also takes risk in her leap. You're going to see it right here. Sissone to a switch half. Most of these switch halves you see on the floor because they're hard to keep on top of the beam when you twist and split at the same time. Slight delay out of the Sissone. We'll see what the judges decide to do with the connection. beautiful stick on that gainer full. And beam has to be the hardest event to compete as an individual because you have the extra weight. Sometimes you're weighting events. Then you've got to wait 6 people before you go. Kudos to Sydney's performance.
So you see on the team scores there, Alabama, Utah, Denver moves into 3rd in Oregon State. So it's Alabama with their super strong second rotation on the bars, capped by 3 straight scores of 9-9 or better. Akbar with the highest of those scores in the anchor spot to propel them to 98-7 now. Utah also at 98-7. So those two teams aired tight with one another, and Denver moves up into the 3rd spot. So we continue to jostle back and forth here after 2 rotations in Corvallis. This is what we anticipated. So many talented gymnasts. And now we welcome in Oregon State head coach Tanya Chaplin. Tanya, we were just talking about all the talent in this region. I wanted to ask you about Sophia Esposito's floor routine right in front of this home crowd and in rotation 1, how she kind of got this place energized.
Yeah, she does a great job of that. She enjoys that event and really loves to get the crowd into it. So I know that helped her as well perform. So, you know, we're just thrilled with that performance.
What's going to be the key moving forward into rotation 3 for your group?
Just doing what we do all the time and letting it swing and not trying too hard. Let those landings just happen and get those handstands on bars and then relaxed aggressive on beam.
Thank you, Tanya. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, go Beavs.
So we'll recap rotation 2 and gear up for more on the other side. Alabama and Utah now in the top 2 spots here in Corvallis. You see where we stand after 2 rotations here. Alabama and Utah above that gray cutoff line, the all-important gray cutoff line to advance to Sunday's regional final, which again will continue Sunday 8 p.m. Eastern time. Live from Corvallis. For more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all NCAA championships. And you see UCLA, Minnesota, Iowa, and Washington 10 p.m. Eastern time. Stay up with us late tonight, which should be a very fun second session of this regional semifinal day here in the Pacific Northwest. 2 teams from that session will advance as well to Sunday. So you see the meet summary to this point. Alabama with the strong rotation 2. They slide up from the 3 spot to the 2 spot. Denver goes from 4 to 3. Oregon State drops from 2nd to 4th. So that is where we stand now after 2 rotations so far to this point. Kennedy, your impressions of our first session?
I think we still have a battle ahead of us. This is not over by far. Alabama is going to beam, and Utah's headed to floor. So Denver and Oregon State could really catch some ground here. I'm impressed with the strategy that's gone into these rotations so far. Even with Alabama coming up, they've got some A and B routines in the back half of the lineup if there are mistakes prior to those back half routines.
Well, Kennedy, a part of that strong rotation too for Alabama, and she's been really impressive so far in her debuts here at a regional. Azariah Akbar, SEC co-freshman of the year, 9.925, highest score we saw in the bars lineup for Bama.
Yeah, this was exquisite. It's her form for me. Legs stay completely glued together. Sometimes on the skills that need amplitude, you see the legs come apart, but not from Azariah. An easy flow on that dismount. I love the fight that Azariah has in her gymnastics.
There's Azariah. She has been so phenomenal for Alabama in her first year. See the co-freshman of the year. They call her the hype girl of the squad as well. A lot of passion and love for the sport. She flipped her class from 2026 to 2025. And Ashley described her as just a fresh, blissful presence all the time amongst the group. And right now she's been pivotal, talking with Justin Spring there, their assistant coach.
talking about the Olympians that we have, even in this session. I tried to add it up. I still think we do have the most Olympians. We've got Justin Spring on the Alabama side. We've got Grace McCallum on the Utah side. And then, of course, we've got Jade Carey with Oregon State here as well. Dad is the assistant coach, Brian Carey. And mind you, they're all Olympic medalists, not even just Olympians.
So how we'll do in rotation 3, Denver will be on the vault, Oregon State will be on the bars, Alabama on the beam, and then for the floor, Utah will be on the floor. So that is our events for rotation 3. We were wondering if we might see Akbar in the beam lineup today, but she won't be in the beam lineup, but could be a potential for moving forward with that sky-high ceiling of hers. She is warming up. Right now in our lineups, we don't have her on the beam, but we'll see.
Sometimes they'll have the athletes go quickly in the touch to just get acclimated to what it feels like to be in the lineup. It's good practice and prep to put Azarea in if they want to in the later half of the postseason.
Potentially Sunday?
Potentially Sunday. Amanda Hargrave gets it going for the Denver program. They only have one 10.0 start value vault, so they have to dial in these 995 Yurchenko fulls. And you could tell she was going for the stick, lost some amplitude off of the table.
As a team, they went 48.975 on vaults at Big 12s, had 4.98 scores. They were identical. Savannah Miller up on the bars here for Oregon State.
Tanya Chaplin likes how she starts the energy and momentum off for the team. So far, so good. Just the dismount left. Closes with this double layout. Nice job holding the handstand at the end as well. A lot of power coming out of it. Feet were too far in front of her. Couldn't absorb into the mat. That's going to be the biggest deduction in that routine, though. Routine throughout was clean work.
Chloe LaCourcier, the junior from San Diego, been so fun to watch her grow since her freshman year. And a key leadoff spot in the beam lineup for Alabama. Brings so much joy to her gymnastics. You can see it on her face. Started off the vault lineup as well earlier in the meet. Already her third routine of the day was on the bars as well. Had a 9.9 on bars. It was a key ending to that rotation for Bama.
Ooh, and that handle mount is actually a skill. I saw her have a mistake on it in the quick touch, and she went over too fast. I know head coach Ashley Cleese-Johnston has a lot of backup routines for these athletes. Judges need to see those handle mounts held for 2 seconds before they finish the choreography out of it. She didn't do that right there. Important that she stays on the beam though, keeps the momentum up for the team.
Sarah Crump on the floor for Utah, senior from Las Vegas. Spent most of her life in the state of Utah.
Last pass for Sarah. This is fun. Combination pass. Front layout, front full, front pike. 3 skills in a row. Executed well. Just the dismount from Chloe LaCourcier on the left side of your screen. Round off 1.5 twist. Dials in on the landing. We'll see what the judges decide to do about the start of that routine. It could impact her start value. There's a certain amount of skills that you have to show in your beam composition to start from a 10.0.
Savannah Kasparian, freshman, trying to follow the 9.625 from Hargraves. See if she can get them a score higher than that. has also been in the anchor spot on beam for them this season. Francesca Tasso, right of your screen on bars for Oregon State.
Nicely done from Savannah on the Yurchenko full, stuck cold. That is when you want to see from those Yurchenko fulls. A nice giant full on top of the bar to the dismount stick from Francesca, and Gil is lighting up. They like that dismount stick. Oregon's a great bar team. They have nice dynamics throughout. Actually have 2 E-level releases. We rate our skills with the alphabet. E is the hardest skill that you can do in collegiate gymnastics.
Lovebird getting ready on beam for Alabama. Made her college debut on this event against Kentucky. She's continued to perform consistently on it since then this season. Missed last year due to an injury. Over on the floor, right side of your screen, Zoe Johnson following the 985 from Sarah Crump.
Beautifully done. Opening double layout from Zoe Johnson, right side of your screen. And Lovebird on the left side of your screen for Alabama. Only debuted on beam a couple of weeks ago in the regular season, so she's still newer to this lineup. Strong start with that wolf full turn. Zoe Johnson keeps the last pass inbounds. Well done from her. Nice finish out of that back handspring layout. Came in a little short, but worked out of it nicely.
For Alabama and Utah, the 2 schools in your screen right now, were in the top 2 spots after the second rotation, both at 98.7 at that point. And Alabama was able to move up from 3 to 2 after the first rotation.
Shuffle back on the dismount, but good job staying calm throughout the routine. Her first performance in a postseason regional competition for Lovebird on beam.
DeVries on bars for Oregon State. Just had a chance to talk to their head coach, Tanya Chaplin.
Closes with this double layout. Really nice hip position. Legs are super extended. Nice stick out of it.
Addie Hewitt coming up on the vault for Denver.
Tried to control the landing. Did a good job of keeping it to the shuffle and not taking an extra step or adding to the deduction.
She's kind of progressively topped her scores on vault throughout the course of the season. Sophomore from Denver, stayed home. Avery Neff now coming up on the floor. So dynamic on every event.
She's got some fun and unique acro skills in this routine. She's got so many tricks in her bag.
Big 12 floor champ.
You're going to see this front double front half. Not a common combination in college. And I love that the stag jump is higher than the tumbling passes. That is what the judges need to see in those combination passes with a jump out of them. And this place just lit up for Taylor DeVries, putting up the 9.925. Gabby Gladio, left side of your screen. Does that back handspring layout, 2 foot.
2023. SEC vault champ, and Gabby also has been excellent on the floor and on the beam.
One of the team captains of this team because of her excitement for Bama Gymnastics and her enthusiasm at getting them to the national championship, wants to see them #1 on top of that podium.
What do you think about Avery's finish there with a flurry?
I had no words for a second. It was just so good. Just like that Gabby Gladio stick off the end on the dismount. That is what I've seen from her beam performances time and time again. So much good gymnastics in this regional semifinal.
Gabby fired up. Love the celebration of Jamison Sears initially, then it just kind of kept on going down the line there. Sophia Esposito now coming up here on the bars, following the 9.925.
I mentioned those E-level release moves, and Sophia opens with one. Ray directly into her shoot over. Mila Brush with a great landing from Denver on that Yurchenko full. Step back for Esposito on the dismount, but the work in the routine on top of the bar was excellent.
Esposito following that 9.925 from DeVries for Oregon State. That was a big score for them. They'd be dropping the 9.7 right now from Savannah Miller. See, Denver will be dropping the Hargrave score. We'll take you to floor next, where Neff was just given a 9.925. Still awaiting that Gladio score for Alabama. Here's Zerbis following up the Neff score on the floor.
No one's quite broken that 9.925 yet. You might see those scores loosen a little bit in tonight's competition. Oftentimes when there's 2 competitions in a day in gymnastics meets, the scores increase in the second competition. So even harder job for this semifinal one. Have to be a little more perfect and on it. And Ella Zerbis making it look easy in this floor routine. Used to do anatomy test on the side in between rotations to calm her nerves.
Gabby Ladany following Gabby Gladio on the beam for Alabama. Ladany had a 9.9 on beam at the SEC Championships, so see if she can follow that up here. The junior from Spring, Texas, left side of your screen. It was Alabama and Utah in the 1 and 2 spots after the second rotation. As we get deeper into this third rotation.
Ella with a just stunning floor routine. I love the way she performs that front pass. The front double twist in the beginning is effortless. And Gabby Ladani is just so good on beam. This back-to-back Gabby combination that they've got in this beam lineup is so strong. I like the composure that Alabama has had on these beam routines so far. They look relaxed, but then sharp in the finishes. That's what head coach Ashley Priest-Johnston wants. And she wants those stuck dismounts. Well done from Gabby Ladani. She is so on this year.
Cameron Richardson on the bars for Oregon State, following 9.875 from Esposito.
That was huge. That piked Jaeger is worth an E. Most people have to straddle to get back to the bar. You've got to have more height amplitude to keep your legs side by side.
Shyla Vatia. She's been really good on the vault. All Big 12 conference team on vault as a freshman.
And the long 1.5 with the perfect stick. Yes, ma'am, Shyla. You are so good. That is going to be the biggest score in this vault lineup so far. Maybe the biggest number we've seen from Denver in this competition today. That was excellent.
Now up on the floor. Got back-to-back 9-9s here in this lineup for Utah. Zerbis and Neff. McKenna Smith coming up here. She can definitely bring the 9-9 potential as well.
I love me some McKenna Smith floor. Big gymnastics. Backs it up with good dance. Goes full out in her performances. She has gone full out in the senior season. Actually bought 500 sunglasses on her own. Management bought 200 from their side, and she signed all 700 sunglasses for the Utah fans and hand did them out individually herself. Wants to inspire the gymnast coming up, not just in her gymnastics, but in her demeanor and who she is as a person.
Ryan Fuller on the left side of your screen on the beam for Alabama.
I've mentioned Alabama strategizing on beam, and Ryan Fuller is one of those athletes that they strategize with. She has a triple series. If there's a mistake in the lineup, they pull it. If there's not, she goes for it. She goes for it today. It's a perfect stick to the 5th position. Love to see it from Ryan Fuller. She has been steady for this Alabama program. One of their unsung heroes, Ashley Priest-Johnson, said about her.
Was that the triple flight backhand Lele?
It was, and she ate it.
She's worked so hard to clean up her form to get every half-tenth she can get in this routine.
Only a sophomore. She has a big career ahead of her, and we've seen that cleanup even from freshman to sophomore season. Can't wait to see how she closes it as a senior. And another stick for the Bama beam lineup.
At the moment, Denver is currently in third, kind of flip-flopping with Oregon State back and forth for third place. The goal is to be in the top 2, of course, though, where Alabama and Utah currently sit. Ellie Weaver up here anchoring the bars lineup for Oregon State at the tail end of this third rotation. Madison Reidenbach about to anchor for Denver after Batia was given a 9-9. Highest score so far in that vault lineup.
Under rotated, coming out of the 1.5 twist. Feet were in front of her. 2 10.0 start value vaults in their lineup, but that's going to be a 5/10 deduction in that fall.
Sage Curtis going to round out the floor lineup for Utah. That's now seen 3 straight 9-9s or better there. The Riverton, Utah native coming up. Her parents are Utah alumni. And anchoring this lineup as a freshman, such a big spot.
And this is the only event we see Sage Curtis on. Has to wait the competition to perform. Hold on to that adrenaline. Good job staying in the lunge and not taking another step. Saw her rock off of her front foot. Judges will take a slight deduction there.
Kylie Kawami, the anchor on beam for Alabama, getting set to come up. We saw her perform very well of late on this event. Had a 9.95 the last time she was up.
Head coach Ashley said that she's done the mental work this season. It's why she's having such a great year. Triple series for an aerial, back handspring layout, step out, easily done.
Kylie, a Washington State native, so back in her home part of the country in the Pacific Northwest.
She performs her gymnastics fearlessly. You can see it in her eyes, her choreography, all the way down to her skills. Just floats that front toss to the beam. Has this fun gainer front full for the dismount. Held on to it. They'll take a slight deduction with the chest position.
Amelia Moneymaker on the bars. UC Davis, one of our individual competitors in the all-arounds.
Nice hold on her shoot over down to the low bar. Showed it off for a second. And again with the last cast handstand. Step forwards on the double layout. Biggest deduction though in that routine. Really clean work from the beginning. I'm just so impressed with these individual competitors going in this 7th spot, not with their teammates on the side. You see Oregon State hyping her up, giving her the high fives. But it's tough when you don't have your girls with you.
Got to create your own vibes. UC Davis competes in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, and she has been one of the best in that conference all year long. On each and every event that she performs in. That was the 3rd time we've seen her today, again competing in the all-around as an individual. Just awaiting Carly Dockendorf, who we're going to chat with coming up here. And her group, again, a strong ending to a rotation 3 there. 9-9-2-5 from Neff, then 9-9 from Zerbis, 9-9 from McKenna Smith. And Utah in front ahead of Alabama, 1-2 Oregon State and Denver. We're kind of flip-flopping back and forth for the 3 spot. Oregon State in the 3rd spot and Denver in the 4th spot. After 3 rotations here in our first of 2 regional semifinal sessions. Again, the top 2 will advance to Sunday. Minnesota, Iowa, Washington, and UCLA later tonight.
Hi, Carly.
Hi.
We talked about the lion and the lamb when we had you guys at Big 12. How do you feel like they've exemplified that today?
I think they've just come out so aggressive and they're attacking and they're just focused on themselves right now, so that's exactly what we needed them to do.
You're headed to your best event. What do you want to see from your vault team?
Just some big vaults, trust the landing, not try too hard for a perfect stick. They're so well ready for this event, and I know they're going to go big.
Anna Potter-Aru, with the bounce back today, what do you think about her performances?
She's just such a veteran, and you know she's so experienced and just competes with so much joy, and just so proud of what she's done here today.
Thank you so much, Carly.
Thank you. Go Utes!
So Utah, 148.15, leading the way after 3 rotations. Alabama, 147.875 in the 2nd spot, followed by Oregon State and Denver. We'll have more coming up here on ESPN+. Welcome back to the historic Gill Coliseum, and bring you inside here. See our order after 3 rotations. Utah and Alabama above that gray cutoff line. So at the moment, heading into the 4th rotation, those will be the 2 teams advancing. That's the goal. Be in the top 2 coming out of this regional semifinal. Jason Rush Jr. alongside Kennedy Baker back with you here at Gill. So Kennedy, coming up here, you have Avery Neff for Utah. She's had 2 10s in the event they're about to come up on here, and you end on a certain event for a reason, just as you begin on a certain event for a reason. Why is that?
Well, Utah's best event is vault, so it was a smart strategy from head coach Carly to start on bars, finish on vault. It determines your confidence, and it helps build into the final, into the competition on Sunday as well.
Demi Winger will lead off on the vault for Utah, and saw what they did in rotation 3. Neff was a key part of that. 3 straight scores of 9-9 or better, and the lone score they dropped was the Curtis score to wrap it up. So Carly Dockendorf liking where her group sits right now. And Avery Neff, we mentioned, has a couple of 10 so far this season, one of which on vaults.
And she's actually gotten 2 10s here this season on that Yurchenko 1.5. Puts on a clinic with her technique. Just such a powerful athlete. They've got some strong vaulters coming up. I love the offense and defense that these coaches are playing. It makes sense to strategize with lineups as well as with event order if you get the opportunity to, which Utah and Alabama utilized well. Even Denver head coach Melissa Kushner-Reinhardt, we talked about how she selected that lineup specifically at Big 12 to practice for today's competition.
Don't forget the NCAA Regional Finals continue Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Corvallis. More information on that, visit NCAA.com, the home for all NCAA championships. And you see what we have coming up in terms of postseason dates, all the details ahead. National semifinals, April 16th on ESPN2. Then the preview show, April 18th on ABC, and national championship 4 Eastern Time on ABC. So these teams on the road to Fort Worth. That's the goal, to try to make it to Sunday and be one of the 2 teams that makes it out of Sunday in the regional final day here in Corvallis. So Utah on the vault, Denver on the bars, Oregon State on the beam, and Alabama on the floor to determine who makes it to Sunday. Right now, Utah number 1, Alabama number 2 in the scoring. Oregon State 3 and Denver 4.
This isn't over for Denver and Oregon. That's the fun part about postseason. They can bounce back, but they're going to have to be super on bars and beam.
Can't afford a mistake. Cami Winger going to lead it off on vault here for Utah.
Utah's got all 10.0 start value vaults, gives them an advantage. Had to step backwards, missed the block actually coming out of the table. I liked her patience in the twist so she could still get it to her feet. A veteran move.
The Big 12 newcomer of the year, Shyla Bhatia, now coming up here on bars for Denver. Savannah Kasparian will follow her.
She's very graceful in her bar skills and performance. Has a nice rhythm when she's swinging from element to element. Opens with this Maloney. Straight into a pack salto. Nice backswing. Feet are even with the high bar. Exactly what the judges want to see.
Mia Heather, left side of your screen on the beam for Oregon State. She's got 3 straight meets going 9-8 or better on the beam for the Beavers.
She's an amazing leadoff for the Beavers on beam. Shyla with an under rotation on that double layout had to take that step forward. And Denver has to find these sticks if they want to make it to Sunday's competition. Really good routine so far. Gainer pike to close it out. Starts them off with a stick. Nice performance from Mia Heather on beam.
Chloe LaCourcie on the floor. She's brought her favorite Broadway musical to the floor exercise this year. Entirely to the Broadway hit of Hamilton.
Chloe absolutely loves gymnastics, and we see that come across in her competitive performances. had so much power on the opening double tuck, took a slide back. Judges will take a deduction because the foot didn't stay planted, but clean form in the air.
Elizurvis, left side of your screen, all Big 12 on the vault this year.
She drilled this in her competition against UCLA. Nice control on the hop, minimal deduction. All of the choreography is done by my former teammate and assistant coach, Amelia Hunley.
Said Amelia was quite the dancer back during her Florida days with you.
Oh, yeah. I'd go in the locker room and I'd see tap shoes on her sometimes. I was like, what are we doing here? And she said, we're dancing. Okay.
But she's now given that energy into the coaching side of things and fired up this excellent floor group for Alabama. Olivia Buckner now coming up for Oregon State, following 9.75 from Mia Heather. She's been in that number 2 spot on beam late in the season. Savannah Kasparian about to go up on the right side of your screen on the bars for Denver. 4-star recruit, a part of their very young group with a bright future ahead.
Also, first bar routine for her in the postseason. She hasn't been in since the regular season, and she fell last time she was in the lineup. Working well today. A step backwards, but nice performance, especially after being out of lineup for a little bit. Head coach Tanya Chaplin likes putting Olivia Buckner in because she doesn't change her gymnastics when it comes to the competition. It looks the same in practice as it does on meet day. And that's precisely what you want in your gymnast. Dismount ends with a hand 1.5 twist. I like how she looked over her shoulder to try and find it. Controlled step forwards.
The Gabe LaCourcier, 9.85 now. Rachel Rybicki, really impressive floor routine herself, really impressive individual with her gymnastics and away from gymnastics. 4.0 GPA, already has a job lined up with Goldman Sachs, and here she goes with her floor routine. Left side of your screen, Zoe Johnson on the vault for Utah.
Another controlled hop for the Utah vault lineup. Remember, these vaults all start from a 10.0, so they have more tenths to play with in terms of the landing, and they're doing a good job of having controlled landings, even if they're not sticks. They're only small hops. Rachel's made her way as a staple into this floor lineup because of her consistency. Has nice power in her skills and performs them almost the same each time she's out.
Haley Cheek, left side of your screen, Utah native for Oregon State, fresh off a career high on beat in their last meet.
Oh man, and unfortunately had an uncharacteristic fall on her last pass, came in too short on that 1.5 front layout. Had to, well, they'll take 5/10 for the fall. They don't count the steps, just the fall. good effort keeping that on top of the beam. Looks crooked in the front aerial, adjusts well in the split jump.
So that'll most likely be the score that Alabama wants to drop in that floor lineup.
Haley Cheek was looking good on this beam performance. Had a great stick on her dismount right here on senior day. And another one today. Excellent job from the freshman. It's tough to be in that middle spot in the beam lineup as an underclassman.
On the bars, Kylie Rourke for Denver. 2026 All Big 12 Championship team on the bars. Fantastic in this routine really since her freshman year. Now a senior.
She's had really nice form throughout this entire routine. Closes with this double layout. Really straight hips in the air.
Left side of your screen, McKenna Smith. Utah so strong in the vault. McKenna Smith, a key part of that.
McKenna Smith is so good at dialing in that landing. When you twist onto the table, it's harder to get a block away from it, and she does that well in her gymnastics.
People talk about the positioning she gets in the air. Very comfortable. Mike Hunger coaches the vault for Utah, does a great job. Flip it back over to the floor here. Mackenzie Matters, the freshman for Alabama. Big spot for them following. We don't have the right Vicky score in yet, but they'll most likely want to scratch that. So big spot for Alabama here with this Matters routine.
And they have to hit because Denver and Oregon State are still in this. If they give away another mistake, it opens the door for Denver and Oregon State to walk through. Was more in the exhibition role in the regular season, has made it into the lineup in the postseason. We saw her at SECs. Has some big tumbling passes, opens with this front through to double tuck. Beautifully executed. The way she performed those leaps as well. I could easily identify which skill was which isn't always common in leaps, especially on floor. We see leaps more now in these floor routines because the athletes only do 2 passes, so they have to make it up in the leaps. Acro series for Ellie Weaver, left side of your screen. I love the finesse into the choreo. Athletes will try to cover landing deductions with choreography on beam and floor to try and make the deduction invisible coming out. Just in that front aerial as well. Came in, leg was really bent. Kept it on top of the beam though.
LaBrush on the bars for Denver. He's following the 9-9 from Rourke. Weaver, a great finish over there. Oh.
And she peeled off of the bar. That's when you release at the bottom instead of the timing. We hope she's okay.
Keep an eye on Mila, her status, and hope that she is okay. going over to the vault for Utah. Ashley Glynn set to follow the 9.85 from McKenna Smith.
She's put up a 9.975 on this vault. A shuffle with that right foot to the side, but her dynamics out of that Yurchenko, out of her block, put her high in the air and give her more timing to spot the landing.
Azarea Rock, our big routines for Alabama here. Oregon State currently just 0.15 back of Alabama. Denver 0.075 back of Alabama for the number 2 spot. Again, you want to finish in the top 2 here in our final rotation now to try to make it to the regional final on Sunday.
And this back half of the Bama floor lineup, Azza, Jamison, and Gabby, one of the best trios of gymnastics in the country.
So Oregon State position themselves on the beam nicely here. Lauren Letch, beam is her specialty. The senior from Colorado coming up there left side of your screen.
Perfect wolf double from Azza. Have to shout that out. You see him so often in gymnastics, but I love it when they keep their legs straight and make it all the way around. Azza showed it off right there. And that's going to be a huge score for Alabama. Gets the momentum back on track for the rest of the floor lineup. Lauren rising to the pressure nicely. Missed a connection on senior day and it lowered her start value. Everything looks fluid so far. Exquisite gainer front full. I rarely see people delay the twist for the front full, and she did that excellent. You can feel Oregon State fighting for this. If they don't qualify to Sunday's competition, this could be some of the final routines we're seeing from these seniors of their careers.
Speaking of seniors, Cecilia Cooley right there awaiting her turn to go up on the bars after the score that they likely want to scratch out. So a big position for Cooley. And then on vault, Avery Neff, 10 potential there. She's had 10s on vault, following a 9.9 from Glynn to anchor that lineup for Utah and staple their spot in Sunday's regional final.
Whoa. That was so good. Harder to get a 10 in the postseason because you've got 4 judges as opposed to the 2 in the regular season. They've got a tough job of finding a deduction in that Yurchenko 1.5 from Avery Neff.
All Neff needed was a 9.025 to take the all-around, so we know she's wrapped that up.
Cece Cooley with what could be her final performance as a Pioneer. What a strong bounce back after the uncharacteristic fall from Mila.
Senior from New York City, incredible career. 2026 All Big 12 Conference team. The all-around on the beam and on the floor. See the hugs there. Now Sophia Esposito coming up here on the beam for Oregon State. Jamison Sears on the floor here for Alabama.
Unreal, the height that she gets on that double layout. Sophia with a nice stick out of her back handspring layout step out. Jamison's energy, I need it in my coffee, in an espresso shot, because
3 shots of espresso.
Not only is she the hype woman, but she's hyped in her routines and in those performances. That takes endurance to go full out in the dance as well as the tumbling. And she gives us her all every single time. Sophia wraps with a round-off double twist. Shuffle backwards. It's harder to do those double twists and get the landing because it's a harder dismount to do than the 1.5.
It's a big score from Akbar, who's had such a consistent day, getting the 9-9.
I always am waiting to see what the Stelly is going to be, especially from Jamison. I had to wait for it.
Dramatic build there for Jamison.
I've seen some warm rolls. I've seen some hitting the folks.
So Gabby Gladio will follow her on the floor for Alabama. Avery Neff was given a 9-9, by the way, on her vault for Utah. Now on the bars, Madison Reidenbach.
Nice bounce back from Maddie after the vault mistake with the 1.5. Also struggled on this bar routine at Big 12. Has a much better rhythm today in the regional competition. Came in too short on the double layout, had to take that step forwards.
So for Alabama to stay in second at this point, they just needed a 9.65 for Sears. Still awaiting that score. Amelia Moneymaker from UC Davis coming up on the beam. It's an individual competitor in the all-around today, which we know Neff has now wrapped up the all-around. Moneymaker, the MPSF champion on beam. Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. Gabby Gladio coming up right side of your screen for Alabama. And Bama has stayed in second after the Sears score comes in at 9.825.
And you see Amelia Moneymaker had to go back and repeat her Afro series. Missed the connection on the first front aerial. Backed it up. Slight hesitation on the second try. We'll see what she does with it. And Gabby Gladio making floor look easy with that full twisting double tuck. Amelia with just her dismount left. Gainer full to close things out. A shuffle backwards. But the hardest performance to wait for is beam, and her going in the 7th spot. Still well done. Final pass for Gabby Gladio. Rudy straight to the split jump.
So we'll await these scores to come in. It's tight right now between second and third.
Malia Werline working well through her bar routine. Had a great stick at Mountain West Championships. Does the Stalder to double tuck. Had to work the bar a little bit out of the Stalder. That's such a hard skill to compete.
Still waiting on score for Alabama for floor.
I have to give credit. I know I said it a lot, but Malia just waited the entire competition to go last on bars.
So that score has come in, and Alabama does remain in second, and Utah claims the top spot for those two teams to advance to Sunday's regional final. So came down pretty tight there between Alabama and Oregon State as the scores came in for who would be second, and Alabama does hold on there. So 2 of the tickets punched to Sunday's regional final.
That concludes our 4th round of competition. Fans, stick around.
1 of 2 regional semifinal sessions in the books, and Alabama and Utah fans can breathe until Sunday. So Utah so consistent today, and it came down to their best event. Bolt, Glenn, and Neff both with 9-9s to close it out. And Utah and Alabama again advancing there. Kennedy, that's what you love about this time of the year. You never know all the way down to that final rotation. But Alabama and Utah, the two teams that were favorited to come out, end up handling business at the end and punch their tickets to Sunday.
And I've said it all season long. Utah and Alabama are postseason teams. They thrive under pressure. Regardless of how their regular season goes, we've seen them step up time and time again at the regional finals to make it, or in the regional semifinals to make it to Fort Worth for the national championship. Utah has never missed a national championship appearance.
We talked about the success under Carly Dockendorf in her 3rd season as head coach, and what they do this time of the year, very apparent. Always ready for postseason. And Alabama, they feel like they have really risen up after a tough schedule, going on the road a lot in February. Set them up for March and now April to be at their best. Now the opportunity that is so fun this time of the year for the team. Just going to punch that sticker on the bracket. That was the smile, that collective smile of the group right now that you see for Utah that they had during practice yesterday. Very light, very happy. And now they'll be happy to have the day off tomorrow and get geared up for Sunday. Alabama did a lot of visualization at practice yesterday, very specific on what they wanted to accomplish. Definitely a part of the mentality of their head coach, Ashley Johnston, to approach it in a very detailed fashion, and they've been doing the visualizations all season long to get to this point, this being the biggest stage. Of course, these coaches and athletes know it's not just another meet when you get here, and there are moments where you have to bounce back, and Alabama did well to hang on at the end there with Gladio going 9-9 on the floor to wrap things up. You don't forget, the NCAA Regional Finals continue Sunday, 8 p.m. right here from Corvallis, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all NCAA championships. We will also, later today, have you the second regional semifinal session starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Iowa, Minnesota, Washington, and UCLA, almost like Big Ten's Part 2. Getting you set up for that later today. Utah going to get the first opportunity here to punch that sticker on to Sunday.
You guys were exceptional today. What was your favorite part of competing with your team today?
I mean, I think it was just the energy and the fun that we brought. I mean, the sidelines were bumping, cheering. I mean, I felt like I did 24 routines from screaming, and it's great.
Girl, I see these sunglasses. How inspiring is it for you to motivate the next round of gymnasts coming up?
Oh, it's so amazing. I just want them to understand that gymnastics is supposed to be fun. Go out there, have a blast, do funny things, and you'll go out there and perform your best.
And what is the key to your team making it out of Sunday? What do you want to see from them?
We got to bring the fire, we got to bring the fun, and use our gymnastics to come out on top.
Period. Good luck.
Thank you.
As we have our official scores,
Bringing the fire and bringing the fun. Utah did that today. You can see how light and comfortable they were. Ashley Johnston in Alabama going to advance as well. Now they'll get their turn to slap the sticker on.
Jamison, the hype woman of the team. What hyped you up the most today?
All these girls around me, they're my best friends.
I know you said at SEC you're a baddie, okay? Who was the baddest to you today from your team?
Every single girl out there that competed.
And what is your takeaway, and what are you looking from your team for Sunday's performance?
Just focus on us and keep doing what we know how to do every single day.
Thank you.
Love it. Kennedy getting involved in the dancing as well. Well, they're dancing along to Sunday. Alabama and Utah punched the first two spots in the regional final. Don't forget, we are back at it later tonight. Stay up late with us if you're out east, 10 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN Plus for the second regional semifinal session here from Corvallis. For Kennedy Baker, our awesome crew behind the scenes doing all the great work. Thank you guys. I'm Jason Ross Jr. saying we'll see you in a few hours for some more fun here from Corvallis.